On Wednesday, the Malaysian ringgit rallied to a 6-month high of 4.6610 against the US dollar. It is up almost 3% from its 26-year low of 4.80 back in February this year. Experts, analysts, economists believe that MYR will continue to strengthen for the rest of the year, up to 4.50, going as high as 4.20. Looking at the FBMKLCI, the Malaysian market has rallied by almost 13% since January, and it has outperformed major markets such as Singapore, South Korea, as well as China. Yeah, if you are investing in the Malaysian market yourself, you may be swimming in a lot of profits right now. Major stocks such as Maybank, Tenaga, CIMB, Gamuda, YTL, all these stocks have rallied to multi-year highs, or if not, all-time highs. There are a few reasons to what we are seeing right now. For the ringgit's case, well, first of all, the dollar is weakening. And secondly, there is also quite a bit of ringgit strength. So this chart over here is a comparison between the USD MYR pair versus the DXY index. DXY stands for the dollar index. It's basically an index of the USD versus a basket of 6 major currencies such as the euro and the Japanese yen as well as the British pound. And you can see, right, the trend is pretty much 1-to-1 with the USD MYR pair. Therefore, the strength in the ringgit that we're seeing recently, a part of the credit goes to the weakening US dollar. And why is the US dollar weakening? Well, because the Federal Reserve is scheduled or predicted to reduce interest rates in their upcoming meeting in September. Rate cuts are generally bad news for our currency strength because they will reduce the yield on bonds and fixed deposits. And moving on, there are a lot of good news over at Malaysia's side also. JP Morgan recently upgraded Malaysia's rating from underweight to neutral, crediting policy reforms, the pace of our progress, so on and so forth. The removal of diesel subsidies. Economists are applauding this move. Then we also have very positive growth numbers. Malaysia's wholesale and retail trade is up 7.1% year over year to 147.9 billion in May. And therefore, we are expecting a much better GDP growth for our second quarter. According to advanced estimates, the figure is 5.8%. And part of the credit belongs to EPF account 3 withdrawals. So far, about 6 to 7 billion ringgit was withdrawn, and that has obviously propped up Malaysia's GDP numbers also. So all of these positive numbers means that foreign investors are more confident to invest and come back into the Malaysian market. You can see the daily average foreign participation in Bursa Malaysia has increased by 2.5 to almost 4 times compared to 2 years ago. All this good news means strength for the Malaysian ringgit. We are seeing the ringgit strengthening in itself versus other major currencies, including the US dollar, all except for the British pound. The Malaysian ringgit has made quite a strong comeback. And it makes sense also, right? Because in order for investors to, especially foreign investors, to invest in the Malaysian market, they have to first acquire the Malaysian ringgit. Okay, so it's like a win-win situation over here. And year-end targets, like what I alluded to earlier, for the ringgit's case, 4.2, as high as 4.2 to 4.5. And for the FBMKLCI, a lot of research firms, they have upgraded their year-end targets to about 1,700 to 1,750 points. So it's a 7% potential upside from the FBMKLCI's Friday's close of 1,635 points. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully this uptrend continues and we'll probably make quite a handsome profit by the end of the year. But let's talk about the elephant in the room over here, which is Donald Trump's failed assassination attempt. Unless you've been living under a rock, a gunman attempted to assassinate former US President Donald Trump on Saturday, July the 13th. It was a near miss, with the bullet piercing through his right ear. Unfortunately, the conflict left 2 people dead, the gunman as well as 1 attendee. So right after the shooting, right, Donald Trump's odds of winning the presidency jumped 10 points to 70%. Meanwhile, Biden's odds fell to just 17%. So assuming numbers stay as they are until the election in November, yeah, we may just have to prepare for another 4 years of Trump's presidency. Trump is a huge supporter of low interest rates, less regulation, increased tariffs, and more tax cuts. In a simple sense, he likes to spend, okay, and he doesn't like interest rate rises. So this is good news for stock markets overall, in particular, stocks that are linked to the Trump trade, such as banks, energy firms, private prisons, credit card companies, as well as health insurers. Now, the question of whether this rally over at the US in terms of these industries will translate to a similar performance in Malaysian stocks and similar industries. Experts believe that this is unlikely, but on Malaysia's side, the outlook is already quite positive. You can see, right? The year-end target has a 7% potential upside from current prices. Trump is also a huge advocate for Bitcoin. Now, last month, in an event in Washington, he said that he will support the right to self-custody. And in about a week or so, he is going to give a speech in the Bitcoin 2024 conference. It is one of the biggest Bitcoin events of the year, and that will most certainly be a pivotal moment for crypto. So due to his positive stance on Bitcoin as well as cryptocurrencies, right after the shooting, Bitcoin soared almost 14%. Yeah, it was below 60K previously, and currently it's hovering about 66,000 to 67,000 US dollars. And people believe that if Trump wins the presidency, Bitcoin will most likely, quote unquote, go to the moon. Now, some bad news over here: renewable clean energy stocks, these will most likely suffer because the former US president is not really a fan of going green. Yeah, in 2020, the US became the first nation to formally withdraw from the Paris Agreement. So you expect EV stocks, green energy stocks to perhaps underperform if Trump wins. So you're looking at the markets right now, S&P is making new all-time highs every day. FBMKLCI is at multi-year highs. Gold has also rallied by 14 to 20% this year. Bitcoin, you look at the charts yourself, up, and it's actually close to its all-time high of 73,008. And the biggest question that you may ask yourself is, markets are so high right now, should I invest? The answer is always yes, if you don't have any exposure yet. Let's say you plan to have like a 30% allocation in the US market, right, in terms of your overall portfolio, and another 30% in Malaysian stocks. The remaining 40% you plan to allocate it in safe assets such as EPF, right, ASB, ASM, fixed deposits, so on and so forth. But now you're 100% allocated in the safe assets, FDs, ASB, ASM. So the best moment to invest in whichever target market that you want exposure to is now, if you don't have any exposure just yet. So just enter a bit, see where the market goes. If the market goes up, then you'll definitely be in the profit. But if the market goes down, then you'll be more underexposed, prompting you to invest more. So this is one of the biggest topics that I discussed with financial experts Hann and Sani on Monday. The session is now available to listen on Spotify, which talks about not just markets being high, but more about Trump's failed assassination attempt also. Besides Bitcoin, which has a high entry price right now, what are the two next best cryptocurrencies that you will recommend to invest in? Well, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they are different. Okay, because Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency that has ever existed. Okay, and if you go coin market cap, it's actually significantly larger compared to all the other cryptos out there. Yeah, so its market cap is over 1.3 trillion versus the next largest one, right, which is Ethereum. It's about 2.5 times lesser at only 400 billion. So you can really see the significance of Bitcoin over here. And versus all the other cryptocurrencies, right, it is either 10 to 100 or even 1,000 times larger. So I would say if I'm a beginner in crypto right now, I wouldn't go and try and explore the entire crypto market because there's so many different types of cryptocurrencies, right? There are 2.4 million cryptos. The last time I checked was a few months ago. There were only like 100,000, 200,000. Now there's 2.4 million cryptos already. I would most likely stick with Bitcoin, okay, because it is the most decentralized cryptocurrency, and it is one that is highly talked about right now. Okay, so if you guys are thinking about starting in crypto and don't know where to start, well, try and choose exchanges that are regulated. Okay, there are a few in the market right now. There's Luno. Luno is the biggest one. And there's Synergy, and then there's also Tokenize, right? try and choose the one that's regulated and most user-friendly one, okay? Sure, you can go for exchanges like Binance, but Binance is banned in Malaysia. It doesn't mean that Malaysians cannot use it. It just means that if you lose your funds, if you get scammed over in Binance, right, there is nobody you can sue, and you can never claim back your funds. Shout out to all our gatherer members: Andrew, Wendy, Edward, Alex, CC, Is, Urshad, Caveman, Kelvin, Tommy, Jinkang, Adrian, JS, Wenyan, Dean, Duhan, Sufi, Faris, Alan, Jackson, Raizan, Hudson, G, Jeffrey, Lawrence, Lukman, Will, Jack, YC, Arif, Hazik, Jindan, Adam, Adrian, as well as Ashley, and all of our learner members. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight, and I will see you guys in the next session. Bye guys. Good night. Stay safe.